Let's first talk about what iOS 14 truly did.
No, God, please, no, no.
A lot of people don't understand how that changed. They just know that like it's way worse after that, right? But they don't know why is it way worse after that. So what iOS 14 did was it, by protecting the data for iOS users, it stopped sharing information with Facebook. And the primary problem that this caused was that Facebook is a giant machine learning platform, right? So it's got AI, it's very smart, smarter than us humans. All of a sudden, over the course of a month, as people adopted that, was getting a huge data loss. That machine that was getting all of these inputs from all over the world to optimize off of, imagine if that machine has gears, you're just throwing a bunch of rocks in the middle of those gears and it's starting to grind to a halt, right? And it's not operating where it was, and it didn't understand, it had all this data piling into it over the last couple of years, and all of a sudden, boom, a huge loss of data coming in for it to optimize off of. So now Facebook's system was not getting as much data as it used to, and more importantly, media buyers were now not able to leverage the data inside of the system to make good decisions. So when that happened, the two problems that we have are, number one, our media buyers can't make great decisions because the data that's in the system is actually inaccurate, because it's not reporting who visited your site, it's not reporting who converted on your website, right? And they've done these things to try to get some of that conversion data back. But the micro events, like who visited your sales page, who went to your order form and didn't buy, these events, if they're an iOS user, are not getting passed back into the system to optimize off of. And even with Conversion API, one of the big problems there is there's a lag in that reporting. There's a lag in that server sending back to Facebook, hey, we had a conversion. And your media buyers, anybody that knows media buying, they have to be in there every single day having real-time data to make their decisions. So they're in there killing ads that they think aren't working. And then they go back and look at them and they see that, oh crap, 3 days later, 5 days later, 7 days later, wait a second, this ad that I killed has 3 conversions on it, but I killed it. So now you go relaunch it again, you go back into the learning process, which is extremely inefficient with ad spend. And you're losing that momentum. And momentum, as you know, is everything when it comes to advertising. Momentum is extremely important. So what we did when iOS happened, and honestly, we've done this every single marketing apocalypse that's happened in the last several years, is we just get better. And we use it as an opportunity to do two things. Number one, figure out how we can have the data to make the decisions. That was problem number one we had to solve. But problem number two is that because costs actually rose, advertising costs got more expensive, conversions got more expensive, we had to get better at our conversion rate. We had to get better in our average order values. We have to always iterate to stay ahead of these challenges that are happening. So a lot of brands, especially e-commerce brands, they launched a store a couple of years ago. They were getting an 8x ROAS or a 10x ROAS without really trying to iterate on the customer journey at all. They were, pretty, fat and happy, quite frankly, and maybe a little lazy. Yeah. Well, on the direct response marketing side of things, we've always had to be scrappy to stay ahead. So I've always paired direct response marketing tactics with traditional e-commerce and found huge wins. And that's what we do to this day. And it's what we did post iOS. And I'll explain how we do it here in a minute, but I wanted to give that big picture first, where you understand that you have to always be staying ahead of the curve, because there's always going to be something that's going to happen, right? Google just announced that they're going to be doing something similar, right? So guess what? Everybody's going to freak out, and we're not going to freak out because we're staying ahead of those problems. We're anticipating worse conversion rates. We're anticipating higher traffic costs. And the way that you overcome those things is by having a better conversion rate and a better average order value, right? And then obviously media buying strategies that are cutting edge and ahead of the curve. Those three pillars are basically what we do to stay ahead of these things. And we never stop staying ahead of it. We never stop testing. Our brands, our 35 brands that we advertise for, we're always testing on their customer journey, not just on their ads, to stay ahead of the curve, because you have to nowadays. You can't just run ads. You have to have amazing creative, you have to have amazing media buying strategies, and you have to have an amazing customer journey to win. You can't just have one of those three not be amazing. That's big picture how we're going to do it.